Extract from the book, Nonviolent Communication, A Language of Life by Marshall Rosenberg. This is an enlightening look at how peaceful communication can create compassionate bonds with family, friends, and others. Believing that it is our nature to enjoy giving and to receiving in a compassionate manner, I have been preoccupied most of my life with two questions. What happens to disconnect us from our compassionate nature, leading us to behave violently and exploitatively? And conversely, what allows some people to stay connected to their compassionate nature under even the most trying circumstances? While studying the factors that affect our ability to stay compassionate, I was struck by the crucial role of language and our use of words. I have since identified a specific approach to communicating, speaking and listening that leads us to give from the heart, connecting us with ourselves and with each other in a way that allows our natural compassion to flourish. I call this approach nonviolent communication, using the term nonviolence as Gandhi used it, to refer to our natural state of compassion when violence has subsided from the heart. While we may not consider the way we talk to be violent, our words often lead to hurt and pain, whether for others or ourselves. In some communities, the process I am describing is known as compassionate communication. The abbreviation NVC is used throughout this book to refer to nonviolent or compassionate communication. NVC, a way of communicating that leads us to give from the heart. A way to focus attention. NVC is founded on language and communication skills that strengthen our ability to remain human, even under trying conditions. The intent is to remind us about what we already know about how we humans were meant to relate to one another, and to assist us in living in a way that concretely manifests this knowledge. NVC guides us in reframing how we express ourselves and hear others. Instead of being habitual, automatic reactions, our words become conscious responses based firmly on an awareness of what we are perceiving, feeling, and wanting. We are led to express ourselves with honesty and clarity while simultaneously paying others a respectful and empathic attention. In any exchange, we come to hear our own deeper needs and those of others. NVC trains us to observe carefully and to be able to specify behaviors and conditions that are affecting us. We learn to identify and clearly articulate what we are concretely wanting in a given situation. The form is simple, yet powerfully transformative. As NVC replaces our old patterns of defending, withdrawing, or attacking in the face of judgment and criticism, we come to perceive ourselves and others, as well as our intentions and relationships, in a new light. Resistance, defensiveness, and violent reactions are minimized. When we focus on clarifying what is being observed, felt, and needed rather than on diagnosing and judging, we discover the depth of our own compassion. Through its emphasis on deep listening to ourselves as well as others, NVC fosters respect, attentiveness, and empathy, and engenders a mutual desire to give from the heart. We perceive relationships in a new light when we use NVC to hear our own deeper needs and those of others. Although I refer to it as a process of communication or a language of compassion, NVC is more than a process or a language. On a deeper level, it is an ongoing reminder to keep our attention focused on a place where we are more likely to get what we are seeking. I find that my cultural conditioning leads me to focus attention on places where I am unlikely to get what I want. I developed NVC as a way to train my attention, to shine the light of consciousness on places that have the potential to yield what I am seeking. What I want in my life is compassion, a flow between myself and others based on a mutual giving from the heart. Let's shine the light of consciousness on places where we can hope to find what we are seeking. The use of NVC does not require that the persons with whom we are communicating be literate in NVC or even motivated to relate to us compassionately. If we stay with the principles of NVC, motivated solely to give and to receive compassionately, and do everything we can to let others know this is our only motive, they will join us in the process and eventually we will be able to respond compassionately to one another. I'm not saying that this always happens quickly. I do maintain, however, that compassion inevitably blossoms when we stay true to the principles and process of NVC. The NVC process To arrive at a mutual desire to give from the heart, we focus the light of consciousness on four areas referred to as the four components of the NVC model. First, we observe what is actually happening in a situation. What are we observing others saying or doing that is either enriching or not enriching our life? The trick is to be able to articulate this observation without introducing any judgment or evaluation, to simply say what people are doing that we either like or don't like. Next, we state how we feel when we observe this action. Are we hurt, scared, joyful, amused, irritated, etc.? And thirdly, we say what needs of ours are connected to the feelings we have identified. An awareness of these three components is present when we use NVC to clearly and honestly express how we are. Four components of NVC. Number 1, observation. Number 2, feeling. Number 3, needs. Number 4, request. This fourth component addresses what we are wanting from the other person that would enrich our lives or make life more wonderful for us. Thus, part of NVC is to express these four pieces of information very clearly, whether verbally or by other means. The other aspect of this communication consists of receiving the same four pieces of information from others. We connect with them by first sensing what they are observing, feeling, and needing, and then discover what would enrich their lives by receiving the fourth piece, their request. As we keep our attention focused on the areas mentioned and help others do likewise, we establish a flow of communication back and forth until compassion manifests naturally. What I am observing, feeling, and needing. What I am requesting to enrich my life. What you are observing, feeling, and needing. What you are requesting to enrich your life. NVC process. The concrete actions we are observing that are affecting our well-being, how we feel in relation to what we are observing, the needs, values, desires, etc., that are creating our feelings, the concrete actions we request in order to enrich our lives. When we use this process, we may begin either by expressing ourselves or by empathically receiving these four pieces of information from others. NVC does not consist of a set formula but adapts to various situations as well as personal and cultural styles. While I conveniently refer to NVC as a process or language, it is possible to experience all four pieces of the process without uttering a single word. The essence of NVC is to be found in our consciousness of these four components, not in the actual words that are exchanged. Two parts of NVC. Number 1, expressing honesty through the four components. Number 2, receiving empathically through the four components, applying NVC in our lives and world. When we use NVC in our interactions with ourselves, with another person, or in a group, we become grounded in our natural state of compassion. It is therefore an approach that can be effectively applied at all levels of communication and in diverse situations. Intimate relationships, families, schools, organizations and institutions, therapy and counseling, diplomatic and business, negotiations, disputes and conflicts of any nature. Summary. NVC helps us connect with each other and ourselves in a way that allows our natural compassion to flourish. It guides us to reframe the way we express ourselves and listen to others by focusing our consciousness on four areas. What we are observing, feeling, and needing, and what we are requesting to enrich our lives. NVC fosters deep listening, respect, and empathy and engenders a mutual desire to give from the heart. Some people use NVC to respond compassionately to themselves, some to create greater depth in their personal relationships, and still others to build effective relationships at work or in the political arena. Worldwide, NVC is used to mediate disputes and conflicts at all levels. To know more about NVC, see the links on the right.